A growing number of Major League Baseball teams are working with data management company NetApp to make better baseball decisions. Tom Mendoza is vice chairman of NetApp. He's with me now. You have a somewhat famous baseball name, you know, the Mendoza line for anybody.
Not for good things, though.
That's true. You know what's fascinating, Tom, about this series is that you've got two teams that actually don't crack the top 10 in salary, which I guess is a reminder that teams are doing all sorts of things these days to stay competitive.
Yeah, since Billy Beane back in the early 2000s said, I got to do something different because I'm never going to have the payroll of these big guys, he got mathematicians to come in and statistically look at, if I did what, can I make myself more competitive? He actually started to think, what statistics mean the most? And he changed the entire view of what kind of people he would draft, what kind of people he would train, when he would let veterans go. And other teams have now copied that kind of thinking.
So what does NetApp do? I mean, how do you work with teams?
So our company is the second largest data storage company in the world. So what we allow people to do is move and store information very, very quickly. So how might that be used? The Arizona Diamondbacks opened up a giant facility in Scottsdale, and they wanted to get the most information they could on their minor league players, all the people in training, how they train and how they bat. So over a period of whatever the month and a half they train, they look at every single pitch. They can take any single player, see if they can hit the high ball, hit the curveball, and start to really deduce whether that player is ready for the majors or not. Cleveland Indians, as an aside, have every single pitch, every single hit that's been done for the last few years. So if, John, you're in the majors, I want to see everything you've done for the last year. This used to be a research project for somebody. I can call that up and look at it very, very quickly, which might give me a competitive edge, might give me a way of training my own people.
I'd ask you to only keep an eye on the good stuff. But they can take all this on the road with them, too. I mean, what kind of feedback are you getting from these teams? So they say, hey, this is great. We actually want to do more business with you?
Yeah, I think every company in the world needs to use data. Data is both a challenge and an opportunity for every company in the world. Sports is no different. What baseball teams are now realizing, that if I have all the information at my fingertips, as I'm getting ready for tonight's game, I can look at every single one of their players, figure out where perhaps they've done well in the past, perhaps where they've struggled in the past, pitch-wise, count-wise, and then give my guys better guidance.
A lot of people have seen the movie Moneyball this year, and so they're probably now familiar with Billy Beane if they weren't. And what Billy has said is, you know, I can't be the Billy Beane I once was because everybody's doing this now.
That's right.
So when they come to you, what is that extra edge that you can offer them without, you know, some form of steroid, which obviously you're not in the business of offering steroids.
You know, I think the extra edge is actually that people get to use their own intelligence and their own knowledge of baseball and what they think is important, as opposed to some statistician or technician having to do it for them. So right now, the technology is there, and it's relevant to this sport, it's relevant to football. Almost any sport you could think of is taking quantum leaps because of technology. So if you're a GM or you're a manager, you're saying, if I did what, and you have more knowledge of what you believe the game's about, you'll get further ahead. So even though Billy says that, and I talked to him recently about this, he still is smarter than most of the guys making those decisions, and I think he'll do better than the others.
You going to do more work with the Oakland Athletics maybe then, or?
I hope so.
We don't want to give the impression that NetApp is all about professional sports. I mean, this is still a pretty small part of your business.
That's correct.
But is it a growing part of the business?
You know, our company went from $2 billion to $5 billion in the last 5 years, so we're one of the fastest growing companies on earth. It's not that the world of sports is that big a business. What they're doing is what other companies are doing. Every company in the world is challenged to do the same thing. I got to get more out of the information I have, and I have less money to do it with. Well, sports, from Formula One to the America's Cup to the NFL films, which sits on NetApp, all that kind of stuff is just bringing a new relevance of technology to their sports. It's not that it's that big an industry, it's that they're utilizing it at the very edge and now changing the way they think about their sports.
Great for giving us the perspective, Tom. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the game tonight, by the way.